Hey everyone, this is part one on improving your AI or vibe coding, agent coding, whatever you want to call it, from the lens of a slightly grey-bearded engineer. So I see a lot of people making similar mistakes, so I'm going to document these, and if you see common mistakes you'd like me to cover next, comment below. First up, preventing you becoming the next internet security sensation. And I don't mean in a good way. It's very, very easy to leak keys, credentials, secrets, whatever you want to call them, with AI-generated code. Best case scenario, these keys may only allow someone else to use your AI credits, but more likely, these API keys may give strangers full or significant access to, say, your Google account or your cloud provider accounts like Amazon Cloud, Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud, where your company might be running production workloads or storing company or customer data. Not good. So what do we mean by leaked credentials? This is a little app I coded in Gemini Studio. And side note, the issue we're covering today is not specific to one AI model or online coding tool, so OpenAI, Claude, and Cursor users, take note too. I created this in about 20 minutes to demonstrate to a colleague without a software background just how useful AI coding is for generating quick proof of concepts, building workable ideas out very, very quickly. So here's the app. It's always annoyed me why I can't turn any file into a ringtone. Now, Android users are going to laugh here, but on iPhone, you either still have to go through the iTunes store to buy ringtones or mess about formatting files and uploading them without easy or free tools to do so. So this little app allows me to drop in audio or search for music previews online, and even, because AI, to use AI-generated voice alerts to then turn into Apple-compatible ringtones straight on your device from a web page. Now, to use the AI voice generation part of the app, the code needs to work with Google Cloud's AI-to-text speech service. This requires an API key, or a set of credentials to actually use this. And because this application is a front-end web app, that is to say the whole thing runs on the user's browser when it's loaded, that API key is exposed to the user now, as it has to be stored on their browser for the code to work. Very not good. So, how do we deal with this? Two options. Or even better, get used to doing both. Firstly, if you actually ask your AI coding agent how it's storing its keys and whether it's exposing its keys, you may find that that's enough to prompt the correction. Oh, yes, silly me, I'm actually exposing this API key. The common strategy for dealing with this on front-end browser-based web apps is to implement a proxy. And that is effectively when you submit the request that needs to use the protected resource, in this case, the AI voice generation API, to a second part of the application. One would still run on the user's browser, and then a much smaller part would run somewhere back-end in the cloud, which has the credentials, the API key, and would proxy that request from the web app through to the protected resource, and then the response from the resource back to the user. So the user in the web app can use the text-to-speech API in this case, but never has access to the API key because it's going through a backend service that will be deployed as part of the application. Now, here we see that Gemini Studio has actually identified the exposed key and has worked out this proxy architecture for itself. Great. However, because Gemini Studio only currently builds and deploys browser-based apps, it's saying you'll have to deal with the deployment of backend components yourself. Other agents such as Claude Code will produce both components for you and some deployment scripts to boot, and we'll see that in other videos. The second way you can check this out, the more traditional way, is what developers would have done before AI, either on a developer's machine or automatically in code automation pipelines, CI/CD, is use an open source tool such as Trufflehog, or the secret scanner built into more broad open source security tools like Prowler. And these will actually hunt down through your code base things that look like secrets, look like API keys in your code base, and call them out so you can ensure you're not exposing them. An issue with tools like Gemini Studio for this approach is the code isn't actually on your computer. So again, your mileage will probably improve using less wizardy tools such as Claude or Cursor, when you're actually interacting with that code locally. Well, that's vibe coding tip one. Check back to the next one where we're going to be looking at storing data for your app without tying yourself in knots with earlier versions or code decisions. Two-way doors are always better than one. See you there.